Hi, I'm Lisa Wylie. My clients sometimes ask me about hiring, and there have certainly been more questions lately about hiring intersectionally diverse teams and how you make sure that you're hiring in a way that doesn't perpetuate systemic racism or discrimination. So the old way of looking at making sure you're hiring diverse teams is really to make sure you're not asking questions about marital status or whether someone has kids or whether somebody, what they're about their partner or those kinds of things. That really doesn't cut it anymore. That's a given, or it certainly should be anyway. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're really making the hiring process as unbiased as it can be and as welcoming for people of different diverse backgrounds to apply and to get through the hiring process well. So I've got a few tips and ideas for you here. So what we really want to do is think about mindful hiring. We want to make sure that we are acknowledging those shortcuts that we all use in the hiring process, but that can actually lead to less diversity and feed systemic discrimination. So to really build an inclusive and diverse team, you want to really, number one, be aware of your biases. Being aware of your biases, there isn't shame in having biases. There is shame in not being aware of what your biases are. So as evolutionarily, we actually form biases to help us to navigate a world that can have all sorts of different challenges in them. And like so many things that we developed evolutionarily, they really don't serve us anymore. And especially for white people who are making hiring decisions, boy, oh boy, you've got some things that have been wired in evolutionarily that are causing real issues for other people who are non-white or, non-male or able-bodied or who are not able-bodied, these kinds of things. So really being aware of what your biases are, make the unconscious conscious, because then you can choose how you're going to resist those biases. And the only way is to be aware of that. So what are you most comfortable with? Challenge yourself to think differently and build a hiring panel that is intentionally diverse so that you reduce the risk of overlapping biases. Next, you really want to think about what someone needs to be able to learn to do the job exceptionally well. Defining the job and really what you need of someone to be able to do that job is so important, because what it does is having that clarity going into the hiring process really helps to keep you from going to those shortcuts that may be steering you in a less diverse or less inclusive way. Defining those up front allows you to look for someone to demonstrate those skills or those learning abilities in ways that are different from what you would expect. And that kind of leads to the third point, which is to challenge your assumptions about where the best candidates come from. Sometimes you may feel the urge to hire someone because they came from the best schools or because they worked for a Fortune 500 company, those kinds of things. And some of those experiences have privilege built right in. So you want to stay very open to not the best school, but what else is there? Not the best company, but what was demonstrated. And when you start to look more creatively that way, you see someone's resilience, someone's ability to overcome difficulties, and really can take those in and recognize the incredible strengths that someone brings when they don't have a traditional background that is really fraught with lots of privilege. So, those are sort of some ideas on how to make sure that as you're entering into the hiring process, that you're doing so in a way that really welcomes inclusivity and diversity so that you can build a kick-ass team. Other thing is, boy, oh boy, on the other side of that signed offer, You also need to make sure that your culture is supporting people who are not what you think of as the typical fit, because fit can sometimes be a short form for white and privileged. And so, you want to make sure that the immune system of your organization doesn't squeeze somebody out and make them feel like they're not a good fit, or where you're really creating an inhospitable environment for someone who is not able-bodied or not the same age as everybody else, the same color as everybody else, whatever that is. And really make sure that you're managing your culture and managing the drivers of your culture so that fit is really focused on people who are willing and able to do the job well with a good temperament. Okay? So I hope that you find that helpful. As always, please reach out to me if you've got questions or if there's any way that I can help you. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye.